Hi! Welcome to Lesko Free Radio again! I'm sorry, you found me again. I've been trying to hide, but you found me. Every week you seem to find me. Well, we have 4 great shows going on today. We got 4 interviews you're never going to see anywhere else. Great people show you how to get free money, whether it's the internet or government, things like this, that you can't get anywhere else. Man, you gotta get off your butt and do something. And now with the new technology, you can. You don't even have to get out of your butt, off your butt, because you can do it right on your butt and go to the internet and get all this stuff. The first person we're going to talk to is a fellow that really, he found out a way to help the poor with his photographs, right? Pretty cool. I mean, he was so involved in poor people in underdeveloped countries, whether it's Bangladesh, India, or something, and he went and took fantastic photographs. And what he did, he raised about $10,000 on the internet to publish a book on his photographs. And now he sells the book, and he gives 25% to the people in the book, all the poor people, you know, living on nothing, to start businesses. So he's creating entrepreneurs out of this with the free money he got on the internet. So I'll show you that and show you how to do it, and he'll explain it all to you. Then there's another neat lady we talked to who shows you how to make $1 million on the internet. That's what she did. She helped somebody make $1 million selling his goods before he had the goods. He didn't even have it yet. And he went on the internet, found a site to do this, and wound up fundraising $1 million. Now she's in publicity and learned how to use publicity to help her do this. So she's going to explain the secrets of making $1 million on the internet, and she did it. So yeah, you can't blame me. Now here's another thing: a guy who had an idea to get better music on your laptop. Apparently on the laptop, the stuff that gives you the music is junk. We don't know it because it's convenient, you know. But he's got this little gadget that he's not even making it yet, went on the internet, was trying to raise $28,000 to produce this gadget. He raised $300,000. Right, what a problem, right? He was hoping to get $28,000. He winds up getting $300,000. Now that's pretty cool. And I got one more, a fellow who making a database of photographs of the glaciers all around the world, and he got like $17,000. So he's thinking that we need somewhere, a place where we have photographs of what the glaciers looked like 10 years ago. So we could really, when we debate whether global warming and how this is affecting, we got real data and real pictures of all this. You know, so he was able to go on the internet again and get $17,000 to do this. So now it's time for you to start doing something and getting some of this money. But first, watch these. Okay, now here's an interesting way to live. Say you're sitting around, you know, thinking of ideas for a business, and you have this interesting idea, and you think, well, I'll go on the internet and figure out how to raise maybe $28,000 for your idea, you know? And you wind up raising $303,000. That's right. Boy, how can you be that wrong? Well, this is what Gavin Fish did. He's got a product called out.com, and it's a little device you put in your computer so you can listen to wonderful audio. I mean, people, you know, listen to junky audio on their computer because your PC doesn't care about audio. So they invented this high-tech, you know, device. You put in the USB plug, then you put in your earphones, and you hear wonderful quality, you know, the same quality as like a $50,000 machine or a $30,000, you know, gadget, you know, for your in-house stereo. So this is what they did. From $28,000 to $300,000 just on the internet. This is the power that this internet, you know, thing has, you know, and it's wonderful. See, what they do is they invent this thing. Hey, we could do this, and they put it on one of the crowdfunding sites. They use Kickstarter, and they have a, you know, it costs about $300 when they finish production, but they haven't started production yet because they need money. So they needed $28,000. So what they said, hey, we'll give it to you for $170. Or $180, you know, as a pre-order price, and if they get enough money, then they go produce it, then they have it, now they send it out to you. So it takes about 2 months or so to get maybe 3 to get the product. But it's a way to finance your idea without having to go and raise big money or get grants or get anything. You're getting customers. And they believe in this process so much because he guarantees that you have a market. I mean, you listen to this interview and they'll tell you that this is the best way to do anything because, man, when you're going out asking people, hey, do you want to buy this and give me $100 or whatever it is to help me produce it, you're guaranteed to have a market. Otherwise, if you're just thinking about the product, hey, I think this is a good product, and you go out and make 1,000 of them, and then you put them on the street corner and nobody but buys them, and you're stuck. You're out of money, you're out of luck, and you're out of business. See, you do it on the internet like this, no risk. All you've lost is some time. And what they gained was $303,000, more than they ever expected in life. And more important than just the money, they got all these people who told them how to make the product better. See, this is what's great. Before they went in production, they said, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? So the real customers. See, fat cats and experts are really not the people you should listen to when you want to do something like it's the customers, the people who are going to give you money. The fat cats and the experts or whatever, you know, these people, the gatekeepers, they're just guessing. They don't really know. The real people who know are the customers or the potential customers. So when you're going out and ask them for money on the internet, and this is what this internet sites do, is get crowds. Say, hey, you interested in this product? You know, and they say, yes, but why don't you make it green? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? You know, and now you have a wonderful product and you know it's going to sell because people already bought it. I mean, this is an incredible thing that's happening in this country now. So you could start a business without any money, you know, and a whole lot of expertise you don't need because the crowd also gives you the expertise what you really need to be successful. You know, that's what's so neat about this thing. And then also, he said, you know, when you listen to this interview, you see that he even says, ask even for $1. Even though they don't have money, hey, just ask for $1. And they become a pen pal or whatever for $1. And they got 500 people like that. You know, and that made them even more money because then they get on the list and they tell other people and things like that. I mean, there's so many little tricks like that that he explains about how to get that money on the internet like this. Gavin Fish, man, you got an awesome set of headphones. I mean, to make headphones work on a PC. Now, this little gadget you guys invented, man, you made a fortune on Kickstarter, but you screwed up. It sounds like you started, you thought you would get like $28,000, right?
We didn't have imagination.
And you want to get $300,000.
Yeah.
Wow. So you don't know anything. How do you survive in the world?
It was nuts. It was nuts. Yeah. We started with this little invention to improve the sound quality coming out of your laptop. We wanted $28,000, and we ended up with $303,000 to spend nuts.
So that's in what? 30 days, right? And you got
30 days.
And in 10 hours, you got your 28,000, huh?
It was 10 and a half.
10.
Yeah,
oh, I'm sorry. Well, why did it take you so long?
Right.
But this, you know, what educating, watching the video on Kickstarter is that, I mean, the piece in your PC is only like a $2 instrument or something that translate the, you know, digital audio for you, huh?
And most of the money in a computer maker's budget is in the video. It's all in the video processor and the nice fancy screen. It's the user interface that it seems that manufacturers think that customers care about, and they spend very little money on their audio, and that's why it sounds so poor.
But I mean, I go in a coffee shop and everybody's working on their PC, but they're listening to music on their PC with headphones, right?
Yeah.
So they're listening to lousy music.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people have sacrificed quality for convenience.
Yeah.
And we've decided with our little geek that we would be able to bring quality without sacrificing convenience. That was the whole point.
So the quality. I mean, I would think, God, I mean, this is probably why I think it just took off so well, because if nobody's paying attention to that stuff. And
no, it resonates. I mean, pun intended, but it resonates.
Yeah.
With people, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
everyone
I know who's really into their PCs are also into music. I mean, it is almost, you know, peanut butter and jelly, and nobody paid attention to the music side.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a small number of people who do, you know, but far and wide, a lot of people just ignore the quality of the music.
Yeah.
And if you haven't heard really good high-end audio before, you're in for a treat when you listen to Geek.
Right.
You'll love it.
So, I mean, now, your company, I mean, that make the Geek, you guys also make high-end audio adapters. What are they called? I don't know the jargon. Yeah.
Yeah, our background is in high-end audio playback. So we make one component. It's called a DAC. DAC stands for Digital to Analog Converter. And that's exactly what it does. It converts digital audio inside a computer to analog so it can be amplified through a stereo. But we sell it, it's very high-end. It's about $20,000 to $31,000. It's a lot of money.
And so now that kind of quality is available through your PC, and it's what, well, actually pre-sale price. I mean, it's going to be a $300 item, but now you can get it for $179 by going to Mustgeekout.
Mustgeekout.com, yeah.
And get a so what do you call it? A pre-production price or a pre?
Yeah, it's a pre-order price, and it's much lower than what the MSRP actually is.
Right.
And you know, the downside is you'll have to wait until January to get it.
Well, you're going to have to wait to get it anyway, right?
Yeah, so might as well get the better price now.
Right. You save $130 if you did it now, right?
Yeah.
But more importantly, I mean, what's great about this is nothing that's dependent on your unit, because it's a thing. It's a USB plug that you could plug into a computer, into a cell phone, into a tablet. As long as you got a USB plug there, then you got great quality music, and
like I said, very few people have listened to it so far. We had a little party here in Sacramento where we had some local types come in and have a listen. Everybody loved it. The people who have backed us on Kickstarter, the first people to get these, and the people who will pre-order on mustgeekout.com, when you listen to it, if you're like anybody else who's listened to it, you'll be blown away.
Wow. Now,
can you think, what have I been listening to all this time?
Can you also hook up speakers to it? So you
can. It has 2 headphone outs, so you can actually connect 2 sets of headphones at a time. You know, my kids do this thing where one puts one earbud in one ear and one puts one earbud in the other ear. So we wanted to make it shareable, but one of those headphone outs actually acts as it's called a line out that you can put to speakers, or you can put to a stereo or something like that.
So you can get better quality from the for your little parties too, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a terrific idea. So Kickstarter, what made, I mean, you're really with a business that does this high-end equipment, so you know about business, why did you choose something like Kickstarter versus, going money to the bank or something? Well,
there are a lot of advantages to going with Kickstarter, and I will tell you, we got knocked around a lot in our industry for doing this. I heard words like, what, does Light Harmonic need to beg on the internet in order to make a buck? And
so
why do they have
you're like
to go?
NPR, huh? Right?
Yeah, we got knocked around a little bit, but there are tons of advantages to using crowdfunding. One is you don't have to guess if your product is going to be accepted into the market. If you have a successful campaign, that means the market wants it.
Right.
And if you blow through what you think the market will want, then you know the market really
wants it, like you guys did, yeah.
Like we did, and we don't take that for granted. We've been able to take a lot of data from this campaign, and I think it's going to improve the product at the end. So that's another advantage to going with a crowdfunding source like Kickstarter is your backers interact with you. I had over 4,000 private messages in those 30 days.
Wow, 4,000
with my backers, not all, but many with advice and questions and will it do this, will it do that? And as Larry and I would chat about these conversations I was having, he said, "Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I think I can add that in. Yeah, I can make that better. Yeah. Wow. Oh, they want a lower impedance. I can do that." And so it became a better product over 30 days.
But also, it sounds like it also helped you find more distributors. I mean, other markets.
My inbox at work, is just inundated with email. We saw you on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And so, in the next 30 days, I will be in Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Australia, Israel, Denmark, Germany, France, the UK.
Hospital.
I have to go to all these places to seal deals with distributors who found us through Kickstarter. So that $303,000 number is really a drop in the bucket to what Kickstarter brought us.
And that's, I mean, the option is you go to some fat cat or whatever, venture capitalist or whatever, to find $300,000, and then you got to do all this other stuff, right? Find out if there's a market, find distributors.
You have to do it anyway.
Exactly. And so you do it both at the same time, and you're guaranteed because you prove there's a market.
That's right.
Well, that's terrific. One other thing. Why the dollar? Don't you have a thing on your site for $1? Somebody could donate $1?
Oh, you know, that was another thing we learned through Kickstarter. We made some mistakes. Going through a Kickstarter campaign and hitting it out of the park, so to speak, is like getting an MBA in crowdsourcing. Or crowdfunding. Right. We made a lot of mistakes. We did have a couple of things in there that a lot of people actually liked, but weren't. It wasn't universally accepted. Now, we had one thing in there that, give us $1. Every buck helps, and I think about 500 people did. 400 or 500 people did.
That's 500 names, man. People like this stuff.
But I'll tell you what's great about it. When somebody gives you $1, they're basically saying, you know what, I'm not going to give you 200 or something because in fact, I've had friends that backed me for $1.
Your very close friends.
Right? And I had one tell me yesterday at church, he's like, I would have bought it, but I think my wife would have killed me. But I gave you $1. And I was like, thanks, man. Because the other thing that happens when somebody backs you on Kickstarter, they get an email every time you do an update.
Right.
And so even, that $1 thing, they got an update, and they started sending it out to friends too. So that was something we did right. We also did a $29 reward for a T-shirt, and that was a flop. That was just a flop.
Really? Nobody wants a T-shirt? They want
that wasn't right. But we've learned a lot, and I'll tell you, we will do another Kickstarter campaign.
No kidding, huh?
We definitely will. We think it's the best way to get, beyond the money.
Right.
It's the best way to get the data, understanding your market better, right? Understanding your product acceptability into the market better. So we will do it again, and all of the lessons that we learned we'll be able to make, and hopefully a better campaign and maybe even a more successful one.
And the worst that could happen is
it flops.
And you got to think of a better product.
That's right. Go back to
and
the
you
drawing
save
board.
yourself a lot of time because you didn't make it yet.
Yeah, you save yourself a lot of time and money, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's terrific. Well, nice to meet you, and this, you're the geek. Sounds wonderful, and people go mustgeekout.com to get that pre-production price of only $179.99.
That's right.
Yes. And you hear the best audio coming out of your computer that money could possibly buy, right? Because you guys are the experts in getting the high-end audio. Well, good for you, and nice to see this happen to you because you have 4 mouths to feed plus a wife at home. So.
I sure do. I got to get busy. Thank you, Matthew.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Gavin.
Okay.
See, I think using the internet for free money is going to be the hottest way to start doing anything in life. Raising money through crowds, instead of some fat cat with a cigar, it solves so many problems, and that means we as a society could solve problems faster. You have the crowds or your potential customers become your backers, so they know this is a good idea because they're the customers. So you cut out all the middlemen, and that's what's it. You don't need experts. It needs nothing. And the best of all, it's free. Okay, here's a guy that really makes me feel like a sloth. After listening to him, I feel, boy, I'm not doing anything in the world. This guy is really interesting. And now what he is a photographer. But what he decided is, about global warming and what's happening in global warming. What he's decided to do is say, hey, what we should do is go to where the glaciers are and take pictures of these things so we could see what happens to the glaciers 10 years from now. and we could really document that, and see it, and instead of guessing and whatever, and have one scientist fight another, we have all used the same data. Hey, this picture was this 10 years ago, now it looks like this, we want to keep doing this or not, and then decide what the heck to do. And even said, like, he was up at the Glacier Park here in Montana. I mean, that thing is expected to go away. We won't have any more glaciers like we do in the United States by the year 2020, And so things like that are happening. And then plus he feels that we need a database of this documentation of these photographs that show, what this is, all these glaciers are anywhere in the world, And so he's collecting this database, and he went online and he collected, like, I think $16,000 or whatever to start this database of photographs of glaciers all over the continent, So it's a wonderful service I think he's doing for the world. And so if you want to take pictures of glaciers or you want to see glaciers, you want to see the actual photographs of how this stuff is changing around the world, you gotta go to his site. But first, watch him. He's a cool dude, so you'll get a lot out of this.
Klaus Simon, you have this wonderful project called projectpressure.org that's really trying to save the world as a photographer. I mean, it's just amazing stuff. I mean, watching your video on emphasis about how you're trying to get pictures of glaciers that nobody has pictures of so that we could document this stuff and know what they're going to look like 10 years from now, because some of these are disappearing, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think unfortunately, I can't save the world, and I don't think photography can. But,
but you're trying.
Save itself. But we are trying to do the next best thing, and which is that a lot of the landscapes around the planet are changing, and a lot of them are changing at speeds that we don't really should be comfortable with, and also probably speeds that people aren't aware of. National Glacier Park in Montana in the US.
Right.
The prediction when it's not going to be a glacier park anymore is around 2020.
I mean, that's around the corner. I'm still going to be here. Yeah.
And, all around the globe, things are happening. We mainly hear about the polar regions because that's where the big stuff is happening. But this, for instance, the Swiss-Italian border had to be redrawn because the glacier moved. The highest top in Sweden is changing because the mountain up there is melting. So it's going to be a new part of the mountain that's the highest point. Wow. The glaciers in Africa that probably nobody's heard about anyway are also going to disappear. And Africa is going to be the first glacier-free or existing country or continent with glaciers that's going to be glacier-free.
Wow! So everybody has glaciers, even Africa, and soon they won't have any, right?
Well, soon it's difficult to predict about the future, especially about the future, as we say. But
but about 20 years, you're guessing, is what the scientists say.
Well, it depends. Probably maybe around 25 years from now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the predictions are difficult because there's very little data to go by. So it's difficult to predict the melt when you don't have proper data to go by.
So you really have also, besides your commercial photography, you have this nonprofit organization, Project Pressure, that really has collected money. You went on crowdfunding on emphasis.is and raised like $16,000 for the project to get the photographs in Africa before it all disappears and we don't have any photographs. And you were saying you couldn't even get good photographs, because nobody's been there so long.
No, I mean, the thing about Africa that's really interesting is that it is kind of like and especially Uganda, is kind of like the forgotten glaciers that nobody knows about. They're described in literature ages ago, and they're also called the Mountains of the Moon. And Uganda borders Congo. That's been a civil war for ages, and we were trying to establish. As the expedition leader, I was trying to work out what routes to take, how to get there, and so forth, and also how to be safe.
Safe. That would be the most important thing. I mean, Congo is a little dangerous nowadays, isn't it?
Exactly, and I'll get to that. Well, one of the things we wanted to get to was to see the glaciers from the Congo side. it's impossible to get any. There aren't any trails that's been used because what happened? The Congo rebels came over the border that way, so the Ugandan army backed down all the ground so they could see them coming and shoot them far in advance.
I see. Wow.
That's why it's not so visited either. It's not a very accessible place to come and look at glaciers.
So photographers like you are not documenting this. I mean, we're not going to have records in the next 20 years, or so to really see, the effects of if there is global warming and what the effect really is, and to have an intelligent discussion about what the hell to do with this thing, without you doing this.
What we're trying to do a lot of things within Project Pressure. One is that we are trying to talk about the urgency of action. And, some of the examples are given, and especially also the urgency. You understand glaciers in Africa. People hear about it. That's a surprise.
Oh,
you know what? They're going to be gone soon. That's another surprise for you. Okay, maybe to do something. So we're trying to focus on the urgency of action. We're also creating an artistic project that I'm not the only photographer. There's lots of other really great people contributing, and it's a participatory project that people can contribute in a citizen scientist way, where they go out and take pictures, upload to our platform. By the way, funding pending, but we'll get there. I'm confident. And then we have a almost ever evolving visual time capsule of what the world looked like and looks like.
So the project that you funded on Emphasis, and you got 16 grand on this thing, which is great, and then that is part of a bigger project that you have that's going to be on Project Pressure for everyone to contribute photographs like that, so citizens can go in and see the difference and what's happening to our planet. I guess that's what you're saying, right?
It's Project Pressure, put very simply, is the world's first crowdsourced glacier atlas.
So it's like Wikipedia, but just for Glacier Atlas.
A task. There's about 300,000 glaciers around the planet.
300,000. Wow. Glaciers,
almost every continent, bar Australia, if you work with a 7-continent model. And a lot of these places, if you were to send professionals there, it would cost an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
Some people, anyway, crowdsourcing really makes sense for these kind of global projects with a global perspective.
So, in other words, with your site, I mean, Project Pressure is a place where really, hey, I want to document glaciers on my planet or on my continent or my city, if they're near or whatever, and start contributing to the site, is what you're saying too, huh?
That's the whole idea. The idea is that we want to inspire participation, and secondary, we want people to, once they participate, hopefully there will be a behavioral change or behavioral alteration, so we have less CO2 emissions. Ultimately, that's the idea. The other point with the project is that we're looking forward, but we're also looking backwards, because we can't see where we're going without knowing what the history is like. So what we're doing with Project Pressure, we're incorporating a lot of archives, a lot of archival material. We have old reference points, maybe pictures that are 100 years old.
Wow.
That then you can go out, create a updated photograph, and then you can see what it looks like.
So it's a place, if I'm curious, that even document it myself, I could go to projectpressure.org and see a picture of a glacier 100 years ago and then go out and try to take the same photograph and see what the heck it is.
That's the platform we're constructing at the moment.
Yeah.
Projectpressure.org is our hosting website, and has a lot of information. And the digital platform, it's about $100,000 build. So we're raising funds for that at the moment.
I see. Well, you're raising funds for great stuff. I mean, so the $16,000 for Emphasis is just one piece of the puzzle that you're making. And then you feel it's another 100 grand and you're going to keep fundraising to do that. So you're really an entrepreneur, a photographer, trying to make things better for the rest of us, or actually just provide the data so we could decide. It sounds like the most important thing that you're doing, because everyone, ideologues on both sides of the issue throw around stuff and you're not sure, but when you could look at pictures.
we're looking at the global issues we're looking at the moment require global solutions, and it's nice to do something really simple that can be a global collaboration.
Yeah.
And issues are very when they're in this context. When we don't talk about the solutions, they're pure. They're not political. There's no political agenda. It's pure. Let's go out, document what it looks like, and then discuss what action should be taken, and then we can start fighting.
Yeah. No, then we start the fighting. Yeah, right. Well, we got to have the data to fight, you know, and if it's collaborative data like this, it's easier to respect, you know, the other opinion, you know, because then if you think the other opinion is biased, coming from biased data, then it's hard to respect it. But
I think is really important is that we're talking about things that are happening, climatic changes that are affecting glacier landscape and pretty much all around the planet. And one of the things that we can do is that even sorry, excuse me.
That's okay. That's from all that mountain climbing.
We're talking about glacier landscape, and one of the things that we can do is that we can create a historic archive for the future, so they can see what the past looked like. And I think that's an important legacy to leave behind. Oh,
that's very important and wonderful that you're doing it. I thank you as a citizen of the planet that somebody's doing this, and I don't have to trek around glaciers to do it. So thank you very much. And the website is project-pressure.org. Go there, find out about it. You got videos that explain the process and how to contribute if you want, or how to give, or contribute with photographs or anything. And there'll be more coming on there soon, right?
Yeah, and just have a look, because there's a lot going on, and it's there's a ton of pictures to look at as well.
Right. Something that's not going away, huh, Klaus? Well, thank you for being there. Take care.
Take care.
Hey, pretty neat, huh? See, we can all do fun stuff like this, and this is what the internet allows us to do. Have a source to go out and try to raise money to do the things that we think are important in life, you know? Nobody else will listen to it, the crackpot banks or whatever, or too much interested in making money, but there's other people who probably feel like you do about the problem you want to solve, and that's what's so cool about the internet. You can find them and raise money from other concerned people who are concerned about the same thing you are. And that's what's neat about our world now. It is a flat world, and without any glaciers, it's going to be a little flatter too. So learn how to start using this system. Now here's a man I want you to meet. His name is GMB Akash. Now GMB actually stands for, you know, a name that has 15 syllables in it or something, and he's just shorthanded. He's from Bangladesh, and he's a photographer. And what he did, he was able to go on the internet and raise like $10,450 to do a photo book about poor people around the world. These are photographs of poor people. He was so moved, he said, while he was learning about, you know, meeting these poor people around the world, just by accident, he's found out how happy they were in some way. In other words, they just appreciated life so much more than people in more developed countries that have all this stuff, and we have all this junk we worry about and everything. We still don't seem happy. And he couldn't get over how happy these people were, and they had nothing. They're living on the edges of society. And so what he's done now to help, he's creating this book. It's a photo book of photographs, beautiful photographs of these people. So he's using his talents to create this book, and what he's doing is 25% of all the money he gets, he's giving to these people to start their own businesses. So the people that are poor and living in slums and, you know, living off, you know, gathering garbage or whatever they're doing in life, he's being able to give them money now to start their own business. And he's all doing because of the internet. So you see a problem out there, you know, you take your skills like he did to help solve that problem. I mean, that's what's so neat about the internet. It gives us that opportunity to raise that kind of money to go out and change the world, even if it's just a little bit. So watch this interview on what he says and how he does it. Now this is really from Bangladesh, and his an apartment or wherever he lives there, so the connection isn't so hot in Skype, but it's worth your time. Watch it.
Well, it's GMB Akash, right? And you're in Bangladesh. That's a long way from me today. But your work, Akash, your survivor's book on emphasis, it's just outstanding work. I mean, how did the book come about?
Actually, this is my 10 years long project. I was doing.
Wow.
Yes, and I have been working in many Southeast Asian countries like India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal. And this book is about my 10 years long project called Survivors. And this is about the people who have almost nothing, but they never give up. They work hard. They're living on the edge of the society. And this book shows how strong these people are. Even they have nothing, they never give up. They always keep smiling.
So you're really teaching us, the rest of the world, how, we all struggle in life at some level, that, these people are able to get through. And so to me, it's a story that the rest of us, living so much better, have nothing to complain about, do we?
Yeah, people are, if you're really surprised, even people have nothing, they always be smiling. And I was in many European countries, people have everything, but they always complaining. They look very sad sometimes and lonely. But I don't know what keeps really happy people in the poorest country.
In following, for 10 years, you've been observing these people living, so much on the edge of society, but still being joyful. I mean, what's your guess? What do they have that we don't have, that we have everything and we're miserable?
What I feel is, if you less is always more. If you have less, you are more happier. They live today. They don't worry about tomorrow, and that's keep them happier, stronger, and they don't depend on anything. They just want to live themselves today. They only think about them today. And I told you already, yeah, less is more. They never complain. They are happy what they have already.
Wow. So, and you're right. The more, as I developed and got, the more success I had, the more stuff I had. And the more stuff I had, the more I had to worry about my stuff.
Yeah, exactly. More you have, more you are worried about everything.
Yeah. And so if I have no stuff, and just the relationships, I guess, with people, and there's so much in all of us to give, and if we're giving that effort to junk we have to protect or whatever, we can't give it to each other that we live with. Wow. Well, that's an incredible message. And so it is now, it's a photo book, correct?
Yeah, it is a photo book, and it's a 10-year long project, and we just print like 8 months ago from Bangladesh.
So it's hot off the presses. And to get the book, it's really, you go to Akash Photo, AKASHFOTO @gmail.com. So it's really email you.
Yeah, Sorry. Yeah, they can also Google with my name, and I can get my webpage, and they can get my email address, contact information on my webpage.
Okay, so your webpage is a good place. And your webpage is what? What is your webpage?
GMB-akash.com.
Oh, okay. So not photo, just GMB-akash.com is maybe the best place to start, an easier way. Yeah, and actually we would see more of your work too, by going.
Yeah, you can see 60 images. And 61 of my dream images from my last 10 years journey.
Wow.
So this book is not only a book, this is a hope for the people who have picture in this book, because through this book, we're giving business to this family or the people who have picture in this book. So 25% of the selling price of the book goes directly to this family.
I see. So every family in the book gets 25% of what you get. You're giving them, not every family, but the total. You're giving 25% of what you get goes to the families in the book.
Yeah, so far we set up a business. It's small. We don't give them money, but we talk to them. We try to find out what kind of business they are able to do, and we buy the business for them and give them business to and monitor them and give them advice, because if I give you a car, if you don't know how to drive, you'll destroy it.
Right.
So you
exactly.
also teach them, monitor them how to run this business successfully.
So it's a micro grant project too that you're doing for people to start a small business.
Yeah, but we don't take anything from them. It's like a gift for them. Right. Because I got so much from them last 15 years. I become photographer, and because of them, without their images, I have no existence.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it is so true. I mean, that we're here, everything that we have in this life is because of somebody else's effort. Yeah. And we're so egotistical, we want to say, oh, it's because of me. But without these other people, you couldn't do this, is what you're saying, huh?
Yeah.
And so you make them partners in what you're doing, and you're giving back to them.
Yeah, because I got so much without them. In 15 years, as a photojournalist, I always believed that I can change society through my images. But in 15 years, I did not saw any changes among these particular families of people. I have been working, and I survive with their images. If I do any assignment, I get payment. If my big images get published, I get payment, but they got nothing. So I feel I have to do something. I have to give something back to them.
Yeah.
And I start giving them business and monitor them, and that's changed a lot. Always one quotation from a American author, Helen Keller, always inspired me. I really want to share with you.
Yeah.
That I'm the only. Yeah.
You're sharing with them and creating opportunities for them to grow their life and their families. And it sounds like being involved with their lives has changed your life significantly about the meaning of life. Yeah.
Of course. Every day I'm learning, for what is life, what life is beautiful. We should not regret anything. And we should do something for the people.
Yeah.
And I really want to share one quote from Helen Keller, which inspires me all the time. And I'm the only one, but still I'm the one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. Because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do something that I can do. And
Wonderful.
That quote inspires me a lot.
Well, we need that in America because so many people here think that they have to do everything for themselves only. And if you could try, and that's a wonderful expression and to live by, because to me, I think giving is selfish because it feels so good when you give, so it's very selfish.
Of course, and if everybody from the society, if they come forward to help one person,
yes,
there will be no poverty at all.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. So people get the book, they go to your website, and it's GMB, and then Akash, AKASH.com. And you can get the email. You email GMB. They'll tell you how to get the book and how you can help all the people in the book, because all the people in the book help GMB, and he wants to help them back. So we got to get people to your website so you can keep helping these people because they helped you so much. Well, thank you for being in the world, GMB, and thank you for doing this work and trying to teach the rest of us how to live better.
Thank you very much, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share about my book.
But see, like your people, I'm nothing without you. Take care.
Thank you very much. Take care.
See, so why don't you think of a project? What's a good project you could do, to help other people and give them, a percentage of it. Use capitalism when you're selling something or whatever, and they're giving, he is giving a percent of all the money he has to solve that problem in life. Now that's neat. Don't we need more people in life doing that kind of stuff? Now I'd like to meet this young lady who'd tell you the secrets of how to get $1 million on the internet without spending a nickel. Man, she helped this small high-tech company put up a website on one of these crowdfunding sites, and they got $1 million. And what her expertise is how to use the media on the internet so people write about your idea and more people people send you money. And that's really all free too, because you're not buying advertising, you're getting other websites to promote your idea. You know, and that's the key to it, and getting leverage. I mean, why people did, you know, in old media, people did talk shows. Now on new media, they're using other websites to talk about your website, so you get more traffic and more sales and more money or whatever. And this young lady, you know, she got this company $1 million in doing this, you know, and it's just, you know, sort of as a formula and hard work, and she says how the people, when they're doing their websites or whatever, or offering their product or service or whatever they have, they don't speak dumb enough, as she says, yeah, and that you have to be able to sell your idea to like your grandmother or to a 5-year-old to really get the idea across. The problem with so many people, you know, like myself, you know, I've been studying my stuff for 30 years and I know so much about it, so I think everybody else will know. But no, they don't. You have to think low enough level to explain it, you know, so your grandmother could understand. So watch this interview with her, and she'll explain to you how to use these new tools on the internet to raise money, and she's not talking about spending money to do it. It's all for free, so watch it.
Jeannie Joshua, right? But actually, what is your real name? What did you say that last name again? It's wonderful.
It's Mukopandai.
Mukopandai. Oh, that's a delightful name. I'm sorry. I read it and I'll get all screwed up. If I hear it, then it's easy. Yeah. But the real name is the Silver Telegram. That's what you're all about. A PR agency that gets people millions of dollars by crowdfunding. Right? What was that first campaign that you helped? So you're a PR agency, right? That helps people want to crowdfund, get all this money and learn to use the system.
Yes, absolutely. So our first campaign was actually Stick and Vine, is right here. This is after the campaign, but they started with just an idea. It was a Bluetooth sticker tracker, and basically you just track all your stuff, your keys, your wallet, your cat. They needed some help getting some traction to their actual crowdfunding page. They were having trouble having people, you know, purchase the item and get that money. And so what we did was we actually helped drive media to that crowdfunding page, and so that they can get the consumers that they were looking for, people who love gadgets, to come and purchase those items. And we ended up raising about $934,000 for them.
Wow, almost $1 million on a little gadget. What were they initially after? How much money?
70,000.
70, and they wound up with $1 million. God. Well, what do you think the average person does wrong when they start a crowdfunding site?
I think a lot of things, they don't think that it's as hard as it is. And so a lot of times they write the messages on the page according to what they think, because they're so familiar with the product, it's easy to understand. And I think people are not simple enough when they're explaining exactly what it is that they're trying to sell and how it benefits the person who's going to give them the money. So those are the two, I think, main things: is make it easy for like a 5-year-old or your grandmother to understand, and give people a reason to give you money. Make it compelling, like make it funny, make it heartwarming, you know, tell them why they need to use your product, why they have to just have it, you know?
So that's so it's messaging on the crowdfunding side. I mean, keeping it simple and why they should give you money, right? So they have to understand. So pitch to grandma is what you're saying. Now, how about you know, you're saying that it takes effort. So now when you have those words on the site, then how do you get it out there? How do you guys do that?
So there's a secret formula that 30% of your campaign has to come from people you already know. So you need to find those people beforehand. So there's a really great way to kind of get the word out there to your contact list. Find your friends, your family, colleagues, people you used to work with, anybody you have an email address for. And just appeal to them before you even launch your campaign and say, hey, yeah, can I count on you for a $10 donation for our campaign? Me and whoever is launching this product, and we'd really love for you to help us, and we'd appreciate your support.
So wait a minute. This is before it's up. So you're going out to before it's up, and you're saying, "Hey, I'm going to do a campaign next month. Yeah, could you kick in $10 to help me get over the hump, huh?"
Absolutely.
So you have to be shameless, huh?
Well, if they're friends and family, they'll help. You can find out who your real friends are, I guess. But it's, yeah, I mean, start early and get after those people. If you, the general idea is if you don't get that 30% within the first week or two, then you probably won't make your goal. The other thing is luck. Obviously.
How do we make that happen?
Luck is really based on how useful your product is. If it's a really good idea, luck will come into play. People will find your project, and then they'll support you. And then the third thing is if you have the ability to hire a PR agency or somebody who knows PR, anybody who knows media, you should go after blogs or online publications that really gear towards your target audience.
Like what?
Yeah, you're going to want to find, let's say you're creating a new pair of shoes. You're going to want to find blogs that cover shoes. So those are the people who are actually going to purchase your product. So it has to be a very specific audience. You can't just love Wall Street Journal and try to get in there because it doesn't make sense. You need to find the people who are...
Well, maybe some shoe fetish people, but other than that.
You need to find the people who are willing to spend the money and are interested or looking for that stuff already.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that pretty organized on the web? I mean, finding the blogs or where they are or whatever?
Google is amazing. Google can do everything. You do a Google search, you find campaigns that are similar to yours, and you just plug that in and find out who covered them as well. So there's a lot of really interesting ways, but Google really can help you find who your target blogs are. And then when you go to the blog page, you just look for their contact information and try to email them and do the best you can.
I say, so just keep knocking on doors and get turned down a lot. And
you can't be afraid of rejection, that's for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Now, your agency in public relations, I mean, you handle a lot of startups, it sounds like, and things like that, right? What other kind of businesses have you helped?
So we work with consumer electronics companies, lifestyle companies that produce like bags. We're working with a fashion website right now. We've also worked with another mobile company that produces an iPhone stun gun called Yellow Jacket.
What is that?
Yeah, it's actually an iPhone case with a stun gun at the top right here.
Oh,
yeah, it's very cool. So we try to work with some cool products and companies. We do enterprise technology as well, not as flashy. They're like B2B, kind of really within the industry, yeah. So those are not as exciting for...
No, the consumer stuff, much more exciting. Yeah. So you're a fairly new company, right? Couple of years you've been doing this, but you've been in public relations and high tech folks for a lot longer than that, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we're fairly new, but our specialty is really, I've never found an agency that kind of does everything under one bill. Right. Usually you get charged extra for this, extra for that. So our specialty is really being able to do a lot of different capabilities like PR, social media. We do guerrilla marketing, all of that, just under one little...
What's experimental marketing? I see on your website you call it. What do you mean by that?
That's usually hand-to-hand marketing, which is getting out on the street and talking to the consumers.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, that's fun. I love acting like a fool out in public.
Basically creating an experience for the brand. Yeah. So if you have a brand and you want to have a specific personality, we'll create that personality out on the street so people can interact with that. And that's a really great way. I mean, that's just traditional old school marketing that people kind of are going back to a little bit.
And really for crowdfunding, I mean, your advice to people who are doing a site is that you probably get about 30% from your own people, then you have to bang the hell out of that web to get the rest of your money. There's no magic, just a lot of work.
Yeah, a little bit of magic.
Right. You keep at it, right. Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to talk with you, and your site looks terrific, and the work you do, and making somebody $1 million with crowdfunding. Good for you. I hope you got half that money.
Yeah, thank you. No, unfortunately not, but that's okay. We keep plugging away at that.
Thank you.
See, now isn't that cool on these crowdfunding sites that 30% comes from your existing people and you contact your existing people before you even set up the site? So they're aware that this thing is coming, you know, and that's how you start building, you know, an audience or a community or whatever it is, you know, and it's all just using these tools that are available for everybody for free, you know. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on advertising, you don't have to spend a lot of money on consultants or whatever. You just have to start learning this new system. That's what it's all about nowadays.